Oh, the stuff I've been waiting for. It's the MTMV main card with your man, The Voice. And in the opposite corner, the man in all black came to handle business today. The butcher, the baker, the word maker, the bully of Broad Street, none other than Iron Wildress Ruff. What's up, Ruff?
I'm copacetic, man. This hat is navy blue, but you know, go off, do your thing.
You know I mean, it looks black. I just would have rolled with it because
I mean,
made it look like you were matching.
Well, I didn't.
Now you look
well, no, I'm good. I'm good with the navy blue, but I didn't want the people to think that you was colorblind.
Oh, that's what it is.
Because the intro came in a little rough.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give you the proper intro because you know this is how I do it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the man, the myth, the legend, The Voice, the MTMV curator of combat sports. Boys, I would ask you how you feeling, but pre-show you was already ready for the smoke, so I already know what's happening today. I've come prepared. I'm probably going to butcher one or two names, but you know what? It's all good because I do my job to the best of my ability.
And that's all you can do. That's all you can do, my brother.
Hey, but we got some great things to discuss, man. Let's go ahead and get into KOs and low blows before we get into everything. Now, the first thing I want to discuss, which is funny, we actually discussed this on last week's show, the possibility. Now, last week, Kayla Harrison took a shocking loss to Pacheco. And many people are now wondering, is she a has-been? Was it all a fluke? Boyce, what are your thoughts on the aftermath of the fight, including Pacheco's camp claiming that Harrison in her camp was actually cheating because they were giving her advice during the bout?
You know, I'm a last thing first kind of person. I'm gonna need that first again, but as far as them giving advice during the fight, that's what they're supposed to do. I mean, the only time that you're not permitted to talk is during an official break. Like if there's a break in the action and the ref stops the clock, you can't coach then. But while the fight is going on, yeah, you can talk. So if that's cheating and you've been fighting as long as you've been fighting, that's not good, because that means you don't know the rules. That means that your corner has just left you out there to dry and twisting in the wind because they haven't been saying anything. But that's neither here nor there. That sounds like just some tomfoolery just to have something to say. As far as is she done? Is she a has-been being Harrison? Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't think that this fight necessarily labels her as being a has-been. It definitely brings her value down a notch, because if you can't beat somebody who you beat twice, that says a lot. You know, that says a whole lot. You went 8 rounds, shut this person out for 8 rounds, and then, 3 years later, you can't get 3 rounds out of the fight on on at least 2 judges' scorecards. That says a lot. Now, she hinted to the fact that going into the fight, she had some physical issues. So we don't know what all to make of that. But if she doesn't come back strong and come back like the fighter that we knew her to be before this fight, it's not going to be good for her.
Now, was odd as we talked about this last week, Pacheco kind of called her shot. And she did state, she's beat me 2 times. This 3rd time, is going to be an upset. And the one thing that may come out of this is John Davis recently stated that with this loss, the Cyborg fight is more likely to happen. So, how are you feeling about the possibility for that? Or do you think that that's not the right time for Taylor to take that fight?
I would think that the Cyborg fight would be less likely to happen, outside of the fact that they may be able to pay Harrison less now, so it's more likely because they don't have to pay as much money. But yeah, I mean, if I'm Cyborg, it's a greater risk now. I go and I fight this person who has lost to someone who she shouldn't have, really lost to, or in the eyes of everyone, shouldn't have lost to. If I go and lose, then what does that make me look like?
Right.
So yeah, she definitely needs another fight before the Cyborg fight can even be discussed. And like I said, she really needs to fight Pacheco again and look good. She may need to fight Pacheco and Ladd, and just fight out her contract and come on over to Bellator like she was trying to before.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Harrison decides to do. She had already stated before the fight that she had planned on making that her last fight before she actually moved on to bigger and better fights. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes and what her next move is going to be, how it's going to be perceived in the media also. Now, moving from one fighter to another great fighter, depending on who you ask. Now, both Devin Haney and Shakur Stevens have been on record as saying Tank Davis is all talk. Now, this is not the first time we've heard this. We've heard people say that Tank doesn't fight particularly strong fighters. I'm interested to know with Ryan Garcia possibly coming up later on in 2023. What are your thoughts between what both Haney and Shakur have both said? Is Tank the truth, or is he, just kind of on the side?
Tank is definitely not the truth. Let's let's say that first and foremost. That title, at least, that moniker in the ring is held by Errol Spence, who we talk about fighters not fighting the fights that we want to see happen until he faces Bud Crawford. We don't know how much of the truth that he is either. However, who we're talking about right now is Tank Davis. Now, to say that he's all talk, that'd be a little difficult, strictly based on the fact that, as you stated, he is scheduled. He has signed the paperwork to fight Ryan Garcia. So can't say that he's all talk because he did step up to the plate for this. However, in his 20 plus career fight, for him to be fighting Ryan Garcia now, it does say something, because this is the first for real name person that you'll have on your resume. Let me not say that. The first person on your resume with a name that actually fights at your weight class. If he's fought a name before, it's been someone moving up in weight. And I mean, some people have success doing that, but if someone's moving up just for this fight and they lose, and especially they get knocked out the way that he's been knocking people out, the thought says, okay, this weight was too much for that fight. They need to go back down to wherever they were. The fact that, or I should say, what Devin and Shakur are saying does have a little bit of veracity. For instance, Devin, he took a shot at Tank. I was going to call him Shakur because we got all these names in here, but took a shot at Tank and was like, he just said, hey, when these two fights are done, give me the contract for Hank. I'm ready to fight him. I'm sick of him talking. The issue is, when he fought Rolly, he said the same thing. And as a matter of fact, he said, I'll be out of contract, meaning out of contract with Mayweather Promotions. So there should be nothing to stop that from happening. But this fight and the next fight go with Mayweather Promotions. So you didn't leave them like you said you were, because you kept saying, after this, I'm done, I'm out. Only be talking all, buddy, right at the day or so before the Rolly fight. And I ain't saying after these two fights, I'm ready. Well, you said after the one fight you were ready last time. And Shakur, he said, look, the only reason he's talking like this is because you got a fight coming up. That's it. When you only hear him talk like this after he's got contracts in place. Don't talk to me. Don't and be quiet while you got two different fights that you got to fight. Fight them fights. Then when that's over, then say something. Because you only talk when you already got fights lined up. When you don't have fights lined up, quiet as a church mouse.
Well, I mean, Tank has got a lot of proof over the next few months. And then on top of that, there was a recently deleted tweet, which he was basically asking out of Mayweather Promotions. So between that, these fights coming up, you got a lot to prove over the next few months. So 2023 could be a make or break year for Tank Davis. And when we come back, we got an amazing show for you. We got the one on Prime championship match. We have the Chocolatito versus Estrada 3. That trilogy is going to be awesome. Another trilogy featuring your favorite fighter, Tyson Fury. And
I thought Jake Paul was my favorite fighter.
Well, Jake Paul is your favorite fighter too, but I know where your bread is buttered this time. You know what I mean? Stay tuned when we come back with this message from Ozell.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
And welcome back. We got some great fights to get into. Voice is already on me. I can feel it because I already know what's getting ready to happen. So I want to first get into this one on Prime fight that's going to happen. This is actually going to be taking place live in the Mall of Asia Arena in Manila, Philippines, Saturday, December 3rd.
Saying everything right.
Now, despite Joshua Pacquiao,
which is the following day.
I knew it. Despite Pacquiao building an amazing legacy for himself so far, he's still focused on the now. So the reigning one strawweight world champion is actually eyeing a 4th straight title defense as he's going to tangle with Jared the Monkey God Brooks. That's the most interesting nickname I've ever heard. Now, at the young age of 26, the one thing we have to realize about the champ is he's literally all throughout the record books for the strawweight division, but he still feels that he has something to prove against what is listed as literally a dangerous opponent in the number 1 ranked Brooks. Now, Brooks, meanwhile, has literally tried to engage with the passion since his debut in November of 2021. He's never hit his desire that he wants to dethrone the champion. Boys, this is 2 great fighters, 2 passionate individuals, both looking to literally create a legacy for themselves. Brooke has built himself up to become the number 1 contender. What should we expect from this fight? And should Joshua be a little bit more worried in this 4th title defense?
Should he be worried? I think he has the proper level of respect and healthy respect for Brooks. He's, been on record to say that, hey, look, this guy, well, I'll say this. He doesn't like Brooks. It's obvious that he does not like Brooks. And part of it is personal. One part is that when Brooks made his 1 championship debut, because, let's give Brooks his flowers. Outside of the PFL, and the only reason he probably hasn't fought in the PFL is because they don't have a weight class for him. But outside of PFL, he's been in pretty much every major organization that there is. Fought in Rising, fought in Bellator, fought in the UFC, as well as in 1 championship. Now, when he made his 1 debut back in 2021, as you were mentioning, and probably why he was calling out Pacquiao is because he beat Pacquiao's teammate, Lito, who also is a member of Team Lakai. Team Lakai is one of the largest gyms that is represented in 1 championship. Evolve is the other big gym there. So he beat Lito and probably start calling him out. Pacquiao said, look, this dude doesn't have Bushido. He does all this brash talking or whatever. He ought to respect and honor. And 1 championship is huge on having the Bushido spirit, the warrior spirit, honoring and respecting the arts by honoring and respecting those that you apply your martial skills against. Brooks, the Monkey God, is a brash American unabashed and unashamed American and just comes talks loud. So he doesn't like him and he wants to hurt him because he said when he defeated Lito that hurt him, that hurt his feelings. You know, his little feelings was hurt. So he wants to avenge it for or I should say wants to avenge these things for these reasons. Pacquiao has been doing his thing in one championship for quite some time, and has only lost like once in the past couple years, like since 2017, and that loss was a split decision loss for his belt. Turned right around and beat that guy by knees, and then beat him again by punches in his last fight. You know, so he fought the guy 3 times in the past 3 years, lost one, and then had definitive finishes for the rest. Outside of his fight with Alex Silva in 2020, since that loss, all of the Passion's victories have come by way of stoppage. So with those things being said, I'm not sure if this one is going to make it to the judges or not, especially seeing as like Pacquiao, the majority of Brooks fights in one championship have also been by way of stoppage. The biggest difference between these two fighters is that Pacquiao can do it both on the feet and on the ground, whereas Brooks leans heavily on his American wrestling, leans heavily on getting submissions and things of that nature, where Pacquiao can do it either way.
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be an amazing fight. I mean, at 26, Pacquiao holds the record for the most wins in the one strawweight division with 9, the most one world title fights in strawweight at 7, and the most number of one world title fight wins at strawweight. He's actually considered to be the most successful Filipino on one's roster, which is something that one actually openly celebrates. If you actually visit their website, that's one of the things that sticks out when you visit his profile page. It's going to be a tremendous fight to see. Excited to see that. Make sure that you tune in. That's going to be on Saturday, December 3rd. Now, on a match that's actually on that same bout.
Well, actually, it's not. Actually, it's the day before.
Well,
yeah.
But they consider on the same bout, though, right?
No. One, the Pacquiao and Brooks card headlines 164, where One Prime, which takes place on Friday night, is headlined by the people that you're getting ready. Oh, by DeRitter and Malyuki.
That's interesting because I didn't know that because I do know that it's on 2 different nights, but they had them literally together, showing them as if it was like a 2-night event, almost kind of like a.
Now, it very well may be kind of shown that way. Like, for instance, if you went to the fight, you probably pay for one ticket and you just stay the whole time. One is good for doing that, but they'll break it up into two broadcasts or I should say 2 shows for broadcast purposes, and they will call it as such.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, taking place literally on that Friday in the Mall of Asia Arena in Manila. It's going to be about.
You nailed it again, boy. Look at you saying the Mall of Asia in Manila 2 times on one fight card.
All right, boy. Y'all, I got you, fam. One of these days, we're going to switch around. You're going to have to do all the intros, and I'm going to do everything else. Now, the Dutch King is going to be taking on Malakin, because I'm not about to try to even butcher that gentleman's first name. This is going to be for the light heavyweight world championship. So far, both have provided bulletin board material for the other. Now, Malakin recently stated that he can knock out the undefeated Dutch King, while adding that a victory for him will shut out any hope that DeRitter moves up to take a shot at any world heavyweight world title fight at any point. Meanwhile, the Dutch King has been focused on not only what he stated is his ease of being able to commit his challenges, but also his physical gifts over his current opponent. Now, both of these fighters are literally coming in. Clearly, they don't like each other. Although Malakin did state he did appreciate that DeRitter does not make his trash talk personal to his family. They seem to just want to other. So, voices, what are we looking forward to in this matchup? And who technically has the advantage? So both teams feel as though they hold the advantage over the other.
Both fighters are undefeated. Both fighters stop the majority of the people that they face. As far as advantages are concerned, this is a classic striker versus grappler matchup. Like I said, both of them stop the majority of their opponents. De Ridder stops most of his opponents by way of choke, whereas Malyukin just loves knocking people out and has done so ever since he's come to one. Every single one of his victories has come via stoppage by strikes, either ground and pound or just straight up just starching them. I mean, just I was looking at some highlights yesterday, and the way that he stalks his prey and then just catch him with a one-hitter quitter is a thing of beauty. As far as who has the advantage, it depends. Malyukin has the advantage in that every fight and every round of every fight starts on the feet, which is where he does his best work. De Ridder has the advantage in that he is champion. He's been champion for a while, and he has fought some of the who's who, and he has a ground game. We don't, really know what Malyukin's ground game is like. He's got a choke on his resume. I want to say out of his 11 fights, like at least about 9 or 10 of them are via stoppage. And he may have a couple submissions, but I know he's got 7 knockouts in there, and then a couple submissions and then a decision or so. So I mean, the advantage all depends on where the fight is taking place. Can De Ridder weather the storm to get the fight down to the ground? Can Malyukin catch him? Can Spartak spark him before he can get it to the ground? That's really where the victory will be claimed. As far as Malyukin is concerned, can you go all 5 rounds? I don't know that he's had to go 5 rounds before. Most of his fights have been 3-round fights. If it goes all 5 rounds, if it goes the distance, can you do that? We know that De Ridder can do it because he's done it before here in one championship against one of the most decorated champions that one has had in Aung Lan Song. So it's again, where's the advantage? It really depends on where the fight takes place and the duration of the fight. If it goes the distance and he's able to get it to the ground, should be De Ridder. If it stopped before then and it's on the feet, advantage Malyukin.
Now, it's interesting that you actually brought up Aung Lan Song. Now, De Ridder actually stated that one of the things that he actually plans on doing is taking from his past experience against the Burmese Python to give him insight on how to combat the power that Malyukin provides. De Ridder even stated that he actually plans on making it a quick knockout if he can. While he does want to put on a show, he doesn't want to leave any kind of doubt for the judges to be able to take hold of it. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see. De Ridder is definitely coming in very confident. So I'm wondering how his previous bout with the Python is actually going to help him in this bout, and if it's going to make that much of a difference.
Well, it should, if nothing, give him the courage to stand and give him the confidence that he can weather those big bombs.
Well, the confidence is definitely there. Now, moving on to the Voices marquee matchup. Boys, I feel like we got to have like a supreme introduction when it's the Voices marquee matchup, because this is a big deal.
Okay, well, here we go. You want some horns or something, and then
I'm,
the
I'm,
smoothness.
I'm about to lead in like it's a rhyme.
Uh,
Two heavyweights looking to move in the ranks for a future title shot. It's a voices marquee matchup as it pits number 5 with number 7 in the co-main event for UFC Orlando. Now,
stick to your day job, bro.
I'm calling out everybody. So, boys, give us your thoughts on the marquee matchup coming up this weekend at UFC Orlando.
So, Tai Tuivasa versus Sergey Spivak. This is the Voices marquee matchup because it has the greatest potential for action of all the fights that are not title fights this weekend. You have Tai Tuivasa as well as Spivak are both 4-1 of the past 5 fights. The biggest difference is Tuivasa's coming in off of a loss. He lost to Cyril Gane in his last fight, got knocked out. Had he beat Gane, he would have been challenging Ngannou for the championship. Now that looks like it's going to John Jones. Whereas for Spivak, if he is to beat Tuivasa, being the second prized fighter, pardon the pun, on his resume after knocking out the Black Beast in his last outing, if he's able to win and knock out Tuivasa as well, you've knocked out a perennial title contender and one-time title challenger in Derek Lewis. And then you knock out this rising contender in Tuivasa as well, back-to-back. There really is nowhere to go but up from there. At the most, you may see him fight a Curtis Blades or someone in an eliminator, but it should put him on the very, very short list because this will be 5 victories in a row for Pavlovich. That's nothing to sneeze at in the heavyweight division. That's like being on a 15 fight streak in some other division, or at least 10. So it puts him on a very, very short list of title challengers if he's able to be victorious over Tuivasa. Tuivasa is a fan favorite. He and his shoeies are legendary. That's like super gross to me, especially the whole spit in it too. No, dog, I'm super good on that. But either way it goes, he's a fan favorite. Everyone loves him, and they love to see him fight, and they love to see him win. So he's really got this. He really has like a Derek Lewis status where he can keep fighting, kind of being a gatekeeper, being someone who can headline cards and bring in fight fans and just keep getting paid.
Well, I mean, they're definitely going to have the crowd for it. That's going to be an amazing crowd. UFC Orlando is going to be taking place live December 3rd from the Amway Center in Orlando. It's actually a great card, so make sure you get a chance to tune in. You definitely get a chance to check the Voices Thoughts on that card, also on Twitter. So make sure you check back. Make sure you also check back on the main card, because sometimes we might come back and cover it if something amazing happens that we just can't avoid. So moving on to another amazing trilogy fight that's actually going to be coming up. We got 2 Hall of Famers. They're going to be stepping into the ring, voice, with the winner becoming the WBC World Super Flyweight Champion. Now, Juan Francisco Estrada is going to be taking on Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Now, they're going to be going head-to-head for the vacant WBC title. This is going to be the trilogy of their very legendary rivalry. Now, that bout's going to be taking place at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Now, it's hard to remember when their last 2 fights were if you have a hard memory. But they last fight, literally 10 fights apart. They fought in 2012 in 2022, I believe, actually.
I'll take your word for it.
Chocolatito won.
Thank you. There you go. I was doing my best not to not to say anything, but then you came with
Brother, that them extra teas be getting me, man. So he won the first, and then he ended up losing the second. So this is going to be an amazing fight. Two fighters who supremely respect each other and have shown respect to each other throughout the media rounds. What's your take on this fight, and who do you see as having, I guess, the advantage in the third part of the trilogy?
As far as what to expect fireworks, because both of the times that they fought, they were very, very close fights. The first fight, Estrada, felt like, hey, I fought hard, but I didn't get the job done. Second time they fought, it was a split decision. I think that it did go the right way, going to El Gallo versus going to Chocolatito. What to expect in this one? I'm not really sure what to expect. I'll tell you, outside of action, I don't know what to expect. El Gallo said in the first fight that he wasn't feeling well, which he attributes some of his loss to, versus being able to pull out the victory last time. But again, it was a split decision, and it was a very highly contested fight, very close fight. They're both older, and Chocolatito has been in many more wars than has Estrada. So, and that stuff, it catches up with you, and it's not uncommon for a fighter to get old overnight. I mean, not technically overnight, but you see him in one fight, it's like, oh, okay, looks like he's got it. And then another fight's like, woo, he ain't got it. And then you see another one's like, oh, or you might say, oh, he got caught. And then another fight's like, he ain't got it. And you just kind of wait for these things to happen, which is the way I've been looking at Chocolatito's career over the past couple of years. Now, it hadn't caught up with him. He's been victorious for the most part, with the exception of the times he's faced Estrada. Even let me not misspeak, because I may be confusing him with another fighter. But anyway, he's been doing his thing, and I look forward to seeing what happens. I really don't know how to call it, because, like I said, that last fight was super close. But it's been a minute too, as you stated. They've fought
2021.
2021. But it was like earlier in the year in 2021, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
About March, I believe.
Yeah, so it's been well over a year since they fought. And a lot, again, can happen in that short period of time. So all I know is that it's going to be an exciting fight, probably going to be the most exciting boxing match of the weekend. At least the most exciting title fight of the weekend. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is seeing how all that works out.
Yes, I mean, that's definitely a major break. When they originally fought in 2012, and then they fought again in 2021. So this time they're like, listen, we got the championship out. We're not going to wait. I feel like when it's time for them to go into the Hall of Fame, one is going to have to mention the other and vice versa, because these bouts literally were amazing from beginning to end. So it's going to be exciting to see. I love to see those type of rivalries, because they're built off respect. And there's literally two people who just they don't avoid the smoke. Like they go at it when they go at it, and when they get in the ring with other individuals, you get the same thing. And you can't say that about every fighter. So it's going to be a great bout. I'm surprised you said that was the best one, because the last fight that we're talking about on today's main card, your favorite fighter, Tyson Fury. That was a perfect intro music for that. Now, the top name in the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury, is going to be literally back in action when he faces Derek Chisora for Fury's WBC heavyweight championship. Now, the bout is set to take place on December 3rd at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Fury has actually been criticized for selecting Chisora for this bout. I mean, he essentially was handpicked. Critics have actually stated that Fury could have selected a number of younger fighters, more deserving fighters who could have been in the ring with him. If I'm not mistaken, Chisora is actually coming off of a loss in his last bout. Now, many are actually wanting to see Fury take on Alexander Usyk instead. And Fury, who has defeated Chisora twice, said not only does he plan to put on a show for the crowd, but he's also deciding not to retire anytime soon. And many believe that's because we're going to get that Usyk fight. Usyk fight should Fury win this upcoming bout. So, boys, I gotta ask: should Fury really be criticized for creating a trilogy for this fight, although he's won handily both other times? And what do you think about his potential upcoming fight against Usyk?
Should he be criticized? Yes. I mean, he was criticized by myself when he was calling out Chisora. It was like, hey, he was online. It's like, sign the contract. Give the people what they want. Everyone wants to see this fight. I was like, who? Who is everyone? Everyone named Fury who lives in your house? The people who are going to get paid off of this want to see the fight? Because nobody wants to see the fight. Now, let's remember he did try to fight Joshua before this. They were going back and forth. It just didn't work out. And I think that was actually good for Joshua because he really needs a tune-up before he goes in after some of these bigger name fighters again. Chisora had a very spirited fight with Kubrat Pulev, who just before fighting that fight was fighting on Triller in like their little triangle, whatever the heck they called it, the Triller Triangle, and was fighting, I want to say, Junior Dos Santos. So you fighting on Triller, it's pretty much done. It's pretty much a done deal. Now, did Chisora win? Yes. Was it a spirited fight? Yes, it was. It was a split decision. But that's the first victory that he had in 4 fights. He lost 3 times before. And then what does a spirited, hard-fought split decision against a fighter who was washed up and pretty much retired? Because if you're fighting on Triller, especially you fighting bare knuckle on Triller, you're pretty much retired. So you get rewarded with a trilogy fight of someone who not only fought you twice, but I feel like knocked you out at least once, if not both of those other times. It's just, again, this is the reason why I said that the most exciting fight this weekend should be Chocolatito versus El Gallo. This fight between Fury and Chisora is the biggest fight, but the most exciting fight should be that one. Fury, he has realized, if I'm not fighting, then something's not right. And I really feel bad for him because fighting helps him with staying sober. When he's not fighting, his mind gets to going too many different places. He starts going too many different places and doing too many different things. So I really feel for him because when his career is done, I just pray that he doesn't spiral out of control. He was just trying. This is a stay busy fight for him. Doesn't matter what he tries to say or how he tries to promote it. This is a stay busy fight for him. He should have been fighting Usyk, but Usyk wasn't ready to fight, so he had to do something else. If he's victorious, then he is already in talks with Usyk's management to make the fight happen.
Now, what's interesting is now when you talk about his last 2 fights with Fury, his first was a unanimous decision loss.
Okay.
The second was a 10th round stoppage. Now, if this is any indication that's how this fight is going to go, what you pay attention to this. Now, against Usyk, Chisora lost. He lost by unanimous decision. He's lost to Dillian White twice. Once by KO, and that was just recently. This is 2018. And he lost again previous to that to Dillian White for the WBC International Heavyweight title fight. So these are all fighters that Tyson Fury have, I don't want to say dominated because I feel like that's disrespectful, but these are all fighters that Tyson Fury has has beaten. Well, outside of
Yeah,
Usyk.
yeah.
So
I wouldn't say it's disrespectful to say dominated. If you knock somebody out, you dominated.
so it almost kind of makes you wonder if this is just a precursor to exactly what's going to happen at the end. Like, do we know exactly what's going to happen already? I don't want to say yes because we just saw what happened with Kayla Harrison. So,
True.
like we always say, one fight can always happen, but I don't see it in this bout. So,
But you say something very, 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 very important. We led off talking about Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison was undefeated up to this point, just like Fury. Kayla Harrison was taking on someone who she thoroughly dominated twice before, just like Fury. The difference is Pacheco has been winning her fights, where Chisora has not, and Chisora was it was bandied about that had he lost to Kubrat, and even had he even in victory against Kubrat, that he may retire. So a little bit of a difference in where those fighters are in their careers, but as you love to say, it only takes one. It only takes one. And if I'm not mistaken, you said that Fury has been complaining about his health coming into this fight.
yeah, he recently stated that Bleach Report actually ran a story. He said his body was messed up. He didn't use that word, but he said his body was really messed up. So, I mean, that's another thing that we can look into in the storyline as far as when that fight happens. And the one thing about Chisora is that I will give him, his last fight against Kubrat was actually probably a revenge fight because he had lost previously.
Yep.
Kubrat, I believe, I don't know if it was unanimous decision or knockout, but I mean, we'll take that as a positive. Now, his 3 fights before that were all 3 losses. I think 2 of those were to Joseph Parker.
I know at least one was to Parker. I forget. I feel like he fought 3 different people and got knocked out twice. And was
I think he had back-to-back losses to Joseph Parker.
Okay. Yeah, no, unfortunately, I can't get to my things right now to verify or deny, so I'm just taking your word for it.
So it's a lot of variables in this fight, but that's how it goes. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if we'll get the super fight that everyone is clamoring for with Usyk. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again for another amazing show. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for tuning in. Your comments, your questions, everything that you all do for us, whether it be on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere where we actually post and share this. MTMV Sports. We're an amazing group of people. We love sports. We love to talk sports. My team, my voice. We're literally you all. The only difference is that we just decide to put ourselves out there every week and let you all ridicule us, say all those things. I'm talking to my family when I say that. But make sure you all like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check in with the team. We have some amazing shows. We have some great writers also. If you actually check our website, you can see some of the great articles that are on there. We prepared you for another great weekend of combat sports. This is me, Will. Just voice, take us out, sir.
Until next time, fight the good fight.